Welcome into our first fall episode of Ryhmes with Orange. I'm your host, Evan Budrovich, and alongside Billy Leggett, we will interview professors, coaches, deans, administrators, you name it, people across campus. And we're going to tell stories this year. We want to inform you on what's going on here at Campbell University and maybe some people you hadn't heard of or didn't really know what they do. That's the whole point of Ryhmes with Orange. We're unique, we're different, and a chance to be able to show you what happens at Campbell University. Our first guest is on the football staff. He's the assistant head coach. His name is Stephen Williams. Has a unique background. He graduated from Harvard as an all-conference cornerback and worked in the NFL under Jim Caldwell and Coach Patricia of the Detroit Lions. He's since moved back to Buies Creek 4 years as an assistant, and now he's one of the top coaches in Mike Minter's staff. He's a father of three, all three kids, 3 years or younger. So him and his wife, Morgan, it's an adventure, but they have a blast doing it. We sit down with Coach Williams and learn more about his background growing up in the Harvard University and what it takes to be a good football coach, a father, and a leader of young men. He's very impressionable and a very enthusiastic coach, 35 years old, and a lot of potential in the business. So I'm excited to share with you our conversation with Coach Stephen Williams on this Ryhmes with Orange podcast. So as the assistant head coach, there's responsibility, right?
There is.
You mentioned running this program, being the oversight for the team. Only 3-4 years in now. How does that feel to be promoted and given that responsibility?
And it's a blessing. I thank Coach Mint daily for the opportunity and him putting that trust in me. And, he is one of my mentors in this business, somebody I love professionally and personally. And it's just doing whatever I can to help the program. So, whatever that is. Whatever that looks like. There's no set blueprint of you got to do this, and this. But as anybody knows, a head coach has a million things going on a day-to-day basis. So anything I can do to lighten that load or help him out, I'm going to do. More than willing to, happy to do. And it's been fun. It's been fun just to step in and help out and see what it's like, kind of in little glimpses from his vantage point, from being in that seat. Because, one day that's what I want to do. And that's not my focus. My focus is obviously the Citadel, right. and only the Citadel.
Well, okay, so football season starts this week. And
correct.
Give us a sense, what are some of those moments you see, right? Because you say you get the glimpse of being a head coach. What's an example of what that looks like?
Just the certain things you'll think about. Something as small as the practice schedule. When you're a position coach or me doing special teams, as a special teams coordinator, you look at your period. Okay, I've got period 5, 8, and 10, and I'm going to be ready for those periods. And you're not thinking about, with Coach Minter as the head coach, well, all right, what leads into that? What period 4 leads in that? What part of the field are we on? Are we going to be on this part of the field? Are we going to rotate down this part of the field? Okay, the offense might need a little more time, and the defense is ready to go. Do you cut them off or do you wait? And managing all of that. And so getting a look at that, how every part fits into the whole has been a different perspective. It's been an interesting perspective. And understanding that the new direction we've gone this season with, overall in the program with little things and how all of that works to be successful in general. Football's the ultimate team sport, and that's not just the players on the field. That's with the coaches as well. And we have to be a cohesive unit first and foremost before our players can be. And like I said, that's everything, and the head coach has to think about, who's on the staff, do they have space in the locker room, what players are we bringing in and whose group, and managing the roster numbers, and okay, cool, how can we get everybody reps in practice, and then, okay, now we have to cut reps for these people, and can we fit all that in and still be under the allotted time we have per NCAA rule for practice, right. And how is that going to fit with everybody getting enough time to be and just anything I can help in terms of that with Coach Minter is kind of what that's opened me up to.
So people who may not know you, Steve, when you take over these special teams periods, there's a demeanor, there's a confidence, there's this whistle blowing, loud noises, controlling the room. Take me into the mindset of how you take over these special teams.
It sounds a little different than it does now, but we're called the Row, and I'm the CEO of the Row, and that is it harkens back to Suge Knight and Death Row. Obviously, grew up with hip-hop in the household, thanks to my mom, Sandy, back home. And it's just understanding that it's a get-down or lay-down mentality in our building and for those we play. Is everything going to be perfect? No. But it's going to be to the max, whatever we do. High energy, high confidence, up tempo. And it starts with me. It has to start with me. If it doesn't, then the players won't be able to do that. If they see I'm confident in what I'm teaching and what we're putting on the field, and most importantly, confident in them, then they'll be able to play that way. And it gets R-rated sometimes, maybe. Sure. But it's always in a good way. And my guys who play for me know that I respect them and I love them. And we want to instill in them that special teams is important. It's the third phase of the game. And you have a role on that, and that role is important to the success of that individual game, success of the team, success of that season. And if you work hard, we tell everybody, I don't care how old you are, I don't care if you're a walk-on, scholarship. Sure. If you work hard and you put forth that effort, I'll find a place for you. And I have to thank Coach Mint and the staff as a whole, because every program's not like that. It wasn't always like that here, but it's a top-down mentality that special teams is important, and there's buy-in from everybody. From Coach Minter to the coordinators to position coaches, pushing their guys along and understanding that if you want to play an offensive defense, you have to play special teams. And you have to put forth that effort in practice every day. You have to be locked in the meetings every day. And, I look forward to it. And one thing we try to do at practice is replicate what is in the game.
Right.
I don't know when I'm going on the field. My specialists don't know when they're going on the field. You have beginning of the half, first half and second half. You know that, and that's it. So I know I'm guaranteed 2 plays. So everything else, I have to be ready to go at a moment's notice. And so I stay keyed up, I stay juiced up so that the guys will as well. They just finished a long drive on offensive defense and they're sitting on the bench, and now I'm screaming, punt alert or punt return alert on third down, and I have to bring that energy so that they know, okay, man, it's time to turn up. And hopefully folks will see that. Hopefully they've seen that, my 2 years so far. And hopefully they'll see it continually going forward.
Since you're a fan of hip-hop, NFL teams, before opening kickoffs, they have entrance songs, if you will, right? And the 10 men on the field with the kicker will swing back and forth. What song will we hear with the Campbells this year?
Oh, man, I didn't know I got to choose that.
If you had a choice,
If
right?
I had a choice. Ooh, maybe. Well, the guys are really liking Who We Be by DMX right now. And so I would take that out of my hands, put it in theirs. If that's what they wanted to play, we can go with that. And you can never go wrong with DMX.
Absolutely.
For any mood, any moment, any time of the day. So that would be it.
Especially
DMX
at 5 a.m. in a gym. That's
Absolutely.
always a good time to get you up in the morning.
Absolutely. We can go with that, and anything. I don't care what they wanted to play. If they wanted to play, Do Re Mi from, what was that, Mary Poppins?
Yeah.
Way back in the day. If they wanted to play that and that got them excited, we'd play that. But if I do get a say, I'm gonna talk to the leadership council, talk to the captain, see what they want to hear, and we'll go. We'll treat it like walkout music for baseball. Whatever it takes for them to get going, man.
I think kickers and punters should have walkout songs.
We should.
They don't have it in the NFL or even in college, but I think it'd be a nice touch.
I'm liking your ideas. We got to talk to Mike Waddell. He seems to be the guy.
Oh, Mike Wads, he loves ideas.
He does. We had to talk to him because my guys might be up for that. Maybe a little, wild thing. Walking with Charlie Sheen for Caleb Dowden, and I don't know what Corey wants. I don't know what they listen to in Australia. But
oh my gosh. He probably has some good choices. Oh, my brother was a college kicker at Southern California, and in practice they would play at the end of the periods. They would play certain songs to go out and kick. If they made the kick, they had conditioning. If they didn't, they'd have to keep running. And so the guys are heckling them. They're trying to get in their ears, and that pressure. I mean, I know you didn't play special teams, but I imagine that pressure is just overwhelming.
No, it is. I tell my guys all the time, special teams coordinator, it's much bigger than just the snap, the hold, and the kick. Neither of which I've done. But always been a part of special teams as a player and loved it and love it as a coach. And, I understand, again, we have very few finite opportunities. And so when we look for in recruiting and coaching these guys, it's just somebody who can just tune out the noise. Just tune it out. Like, we'll put on the music that gets you in the mode, but then just to tune it out. Because it is difficult, and people aren't sensitive to that. They just say, it's your job to go kick and great. But, on a team of 120 plus, there's only 4 guys.
Well, unless you're at Florida and you have 140 coaches and 115 players.
No
Did you
doubt.
see that this week?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, the polos that were sitting in the swamp and all lined up. Which I guess that's modern football now, especially at the Power 5 level.
Everybody's working towards it. The more hands, the lighter the load, I guess. But there's such thing as too many cooks in the kitchen.
And I don't think people realize, this is a Campbell University podcast too, how many folks are involved with the football program here. It's not just the 10 or 11 countable coaches. There's a good amount of people that help make this happen.
No, and shout out to all the support staff. It starts with Katie Knight, their DFO. Brad Dennis, former punter here, who's now running video. And they, Jake Morgan, who's transitioned, but now Jeff Campbell, who's running equipment, and then obviously Jackie Knight in the training room, and then Coach Spellman, Mark Spellman in the strength. And they all have their staffs, be they paid or graduate assistants or interns or volunteers, and most importantly, student assistants, because everybody's walking around campus and class is just starting. You see the kids walking around, but not taking into account those kids, go to class. Some of them have jobs because they have to pay for school, and then they come and work for the football program. And hopefully people, when they see the our team picture, and they'll notice the amount of people there, understand that, again, it's not just Coach Minter and his 10 at all. There's so many people that make this program, this organization run and be successful as it is. And they're a huge, huge part who, people talk about the coaches and the players, but that we couldn't do what we do without them. And it is all one big family, and we're all bought in this together.
I always think of the football travel parties, right, when you're loading on a plane and you see, okay, here's the 75 travel roster, here's the 20 coaches, and then there's 50 to 60 people that are associated with the team, the trainers, the ATs, the strength coaches, the video folks like us, the president, his cabinet. There's a whole bunch of people that are involved, and it's not just the 11 on the field.
Right, and I think the more the merrier in terms of that support, because it's a grind, and I'm not even talking about for us as the coach, but for the players. Again, they're students as well, and we have high expectations of them as student athletes. You're going to class, you turn all your assignments, be where you need to be 5 minutes early, be a leader on campus, not just in our building. And, they're working hard, really hard. And so to see our profile expand and to see us potentially have more success and to see people be excited about that, man, it's awesome, because, our kids deserve it. They don't deserve it just because they're football players. They deserve it because they're working hard and doing things the right way. And that can't be said about everybody. And hasn't always been the case here.
Right.
But that's a direction that we are headed in, and it's paramount. And I think that people will see what the more that Coach Minter emphasizes that, he talks about unlocking the greatness of the individual, of the person, of the student athlete, the more success they'll see on the field. And we'll be a program that people will love to support and proud to be behind.
I saw a report come out this week. This football program has 21 graduate students on its team. That's a fifth of the roster. Right. Is fifth, sixth, Aaron Maddox, seventh-year players.
Right.
And there has to be an experience level that comes with that, right? Give me a sense when you're working with these 23, 24-year-olds, how that changes a locker room.
And so it changes it in the sense, we'll go on the field. On the field is the easiest part. Like, they've played a lot of football. They've been around a lot of football. So I can go explain a concept. Same thing with Coach Wheaton on offense and Coach Adams and Coach Howard on defense. They can explain a concept. They can explain a route. They can explain a combination. They can explain a defense, whatever it is. And those older guys, it's easier for them to grasp, which makes our job easier. The less teaching we have to do about that, the more we can get into the details. The less overall, the more we can fine-tune things. But even better is that they can teach the younger guys. They can operate as another set of eyes, like an extra coach, if you will.
Yeah.
But more important than football is the off the field. And we have guys who are 22, 23, 24, 25 years old who can bring along the 17, 18, 19-year-olds and set a positive example. It's not like these guys are just here hanging out like Van Wilder, for those who remember the movie.
Great movie.
Right? But these are guys who are getting MBAs. These are guys who are going to be PTs. These are guys who are in nursing school. These are guys who are planning to go to law school. These are guys who have jobs lined up. These are guys who have internships. So they're away for the summer, now they're back. And as we all understand, maybe a few of you guys will get a shot at the next level. But everybody else, you're going into the workforce. And we have guys who've done things the right way. We've got, multiple undergraduate degrees. We have guys who've got masters, working on a second master's. We have guys who are going to be successful contributing members to society and outside of the world of football. And they can show these young guys exactly what that means. Because I don't care where you are, what school you are, the better you are off the field as a player, the better your players are in that sense. It just correlates, it just translates. Because they obviously have the maturity and wherewithal to do what they need to do off the field. Well, then the on the field's easy. The on the field's easy. I can tell you, hey, man, here's where we're kicking the void that direction. Here's what you do 10 yards from the ball carrier. And, oh, yeah, duh, that's nothing, coach. I just finished my my master's paper. I'm about to walk for the third time at Campbell. I'm like, man, that's awesome, So having that wealth of knowledge and experience, there's 21 guys, like you said, a fifth of the roster, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. And it'll help us get our guys ready for when those guys matriculate on. So now the next class, we might be a little younger, but they'll have the experience as well from what they've gleaned from their older teammates.
I want to dive back to your academic experience because when you live in such a prestigious area like Cambridge and you're going to Harvard, right, and that's an elite of the elite institutions,
right?
Football is competitive.
Absolutely.
Academics at Harvard is a whole different level of competitive. Take me back to those years and how you tried to manage being a football player and a student, which at Harvard can almost be the inverse of what it is at other places.
It is. It's not even almost. We'll say I was a better football player than I was a student. It took me a while to figure it out, what it took on both fronts. My first year and a half coming from San Antonio up to Cambridge was an adjustment, to say the least. School was always easy, always. From kindergarten all the way through high school. It was valedictorian in my high school, and I thought, okay, college is going to be the same thing, right? And that's not the case at all. And the expectation there as a student athlete at Harvard is that, you're here for a reason. So nobody's setting your schedule. You don't have a set study hall. You don't have a set academic advisor. You pick your classes that you need to graduate on time and get it done. And we also, you don't redshirt there. So it's 4 seasons. So you better have that degree in 4 seasons and better play all the ball you need to play and get out. But once I settled in, I realized what it took. Again, just like I was talking about with our players, there's that level of maturity that you need to have and almost a professionalism in, okay, hey, here's what my classes are. I've got to get up early. I've got to do this. I've got to get my readings done. I've got to have my notes. I've got to be set. I've got to go to class. I've got to show up.
And to know that at 18 or 19, that's a hard thing to do.
It is a hard thing to do, especially when nobody's telling you. High school is great when your mom or your dad or your guardian is telling you, hey, man, the bus is coming. You got to get on and you got to go. And the law states you have to go to class or you're going to be truant. College, when you have the option of showing up, it does make it more difficult. But you realize that showing up is what it takes. Just like you show up at the weight room and you don't miss that. And you show up at your meetings, you don't miss that. And the same thing with class. Once I did that, it turned around. And, I graduated. It was the best 4 years of my life. In hindsight, I wish I would have known now what I, then earlier. But like I said, hindsight's always 20/20. But you really grow up in a place like Harvard. You really learn about yourself more than anything. Obviously, the academic side comes and the classroom stuff comes, but learning how to learning how to operate, and learning how to manage your time, learning how to balance, just prepares you for the professional world. That's the biggest deal in my job now. It's just balance, organization, being able to teach these guys and be able to know what's going on with offense and defense, and being able to manage your home life and be able to whatever it is, all those things, and that's what Harvard really taught me.
I do want to touch on the Harvard-Yale rivalry.
Oh, man.
Because I hope the Campbell-Gardner-Webb rivalry builds into something like that, right, 150 years down the road.
That'd be beautiful.
But when you go back to Harvard-Yale, maybe the most all-time recognized college football rivalry, what was it like as a player, and I guess as a student too, because there's vitriol with both, but being in those games and being a part of those moments?
I say this with all due respect. I hate Yale to this day. And the crazy thing is we're all about the same. Whoever Harvard's recruiting, Yale's recruiting, and vice versa. And then you grow up past the games which you're done playing, and you become friends with these guys, and you know them, and you work in the same spaces often, and you laugh and joke about it. But that rivalry is unmatched to me, and that you want to win every game. But if you were to go 0-9, and then you beat Yale last game of the year, you have something to hang your hat on. And we were pretty successful against Yale in my time there.
Right.
I think was it at 3-1, only took one loss. Hate that we had that one loss because you never want to lose to Yale, but there's a magic to it, man. I mean, it feels like all New England turns out, whether you're in Cambridge or whether you're in New Haven, and a different energy, a palpable energy, and that starts from like 7 a.m. that morning when you wake up all the way through the final whistle. The week leading up to it, it's just different, and you know that the game is going to be the culmination of the season. We have all the respect in the world for Yale as competitors, as a university in general, but still, again, I hate them to this day. Again, but with all due respect, it's a magical game. Magical rivalry, and it goes across all sports and all competitions and whatnot. But something about that last Saturday that we have every season is unparalleled.
Well, when you win the game, which you did 3 times, and it's called the game because it is the
game
historic tradition.
Absolutely. I don't care what people from Michigan, Ohio State say. It's the Harvard Yale is the game. That's it.
Having an Ivy League education, and this is something that Campbell University grads are pushing towards, higher education and promoting their degrees, but there's a prestige of graduating from Harvard. And I'm curious, when you were in the job force or looking for jobs in the NFL, how that helped having a Harvard degree.
I was just talking to some of my players about this yesterday. They're asking about what is in a degree. And what Harvard has done is gotten my foot in the door in a lot of places, giving me opportunity, because people understand that for someone to go to a Harvard or a Princeton or a Yale or any other Ivy League schools or any other school that has that, pedigree, is to go and to graduate means you have something about you, because it's not easy. There is a prestige, and it's earned. It's been earned for centuries, honestly. 1636 is when Harvard opened, and each graduating class understands that took hard work to get there, even harder work to complete your studies. And so it gets you in the door. And the question I get the most is, well, why are you coaching?
Right.
And that's the joke you get. Why are you coaching? But I think on the field at the NFL level and off, you see a lot of Ivy League schools in general, and especially Harvard, because, again, we are the best, and I want all the other Ivy League schools to know that. No, but seriously, we love ball. We do. And so people ask, why are you coaching? Because this is what I do. I played football since I was 5. I've always known I want to be a coach. And, it's just in me. I hope my sons want to do the same thing one day. If they don't, great. But if they do, I'd love it. Make it the family business. And the doors is open for me. It's shown people that, hey, I have the ability to work. The grind is nothing, because I've had to do that from jump, and I'm willing to put in that work, and also the ability to learn. The misconception is that people from Harvard or any other school of that nature feel like we know everything, which is not the case. I think what you'll find out is, myself, a lot of my classmates and teammates and the arenas they're in now understand that the success we've had is because we've been willing to learn. We're open and willing to learn from anybody. One saying I love is that everybody you meet knows something that you don't know. Everyone, literally everyone you meet knows something you don't know. And I think we're very receptive and keen on picking up on that. And that's why you see us have success in whatever it is, be it coaching, be it playing, be it investment banking, be it
right.
doctors, lawyers, whatever it is, because we can learn from anybody. And again, we have the vast majority of us, understand that we don't know everything, and we need to be open to learn from anyone. I said my time at all my stops, Karen Wagner High School in San Antonio,
right.
South Carolina, Penn State, Detroit Lions, here, all I've done is learn. I worked around some great, fantastic coaches and worked with some great players.
And I want to ask you about the Detroit Lions experience, because you were an African-American, you were a young, up-and-coming coach. To be able to pick the brain of Jim Caldwell, who's so well respected in that field for many reasons, right? Racial, coaching-wise. How did that experience change you?
Jim Caldwell, it feels weird calling him Jim. I know he's doing it. Coach Caldwell is one of the best human beings I've ever met. He's also one of the best football minds I've ever been around. And it was a blessing for him to sign off on me, joining his staff. Was a defensive quality control coach, and Terrell Austin was defensive coordinator, and I worked with the defensive backs with Alan Williams and Tony Oden, Bill Sheridan linebackers, and Chris Kasurek with the D-line, and so many great coaches who have gone on, absolutely really let go with the Lions to continue to be successful. And the first thing Coach Caldwell did was hire quality people. And I think anything you do, same thing that's with recruiting. when you're in players. Your talent is awesome. Same thing hiring staff. Talent is awesome, but quality human beings. And that's what Coach Caldwell did first and foremost. He had innate ability to recognize that. Guys who were first and foremost solid human beings. And if you know me, one of the best things I can say about you, you're just a solid human. Salt of the earth, if you will. And Coach Caldwell embodies that. And then to couple that with years of football knowledge and experience and success was unbelievable. To be able to sit in his office and talk about life, investments, or real estate, or family, not just football, it's unbelievable. He rattles it off with ease. That's just who he is. He was invested in me and everybody in the staff on being the best they could be, and wherever path that took them. Again, I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's done in his career. He is absolutely unbelievable, from Wake Forest here in North Carolina all throughout the NFL. If he still wants to coach, I hope he gets the opportunity sooner rather than later. And if not, then I hope a coach is picking his brain to figure out how to do it the right way, because he absolutely did.
It's neat, too, because you're a father of three, and to see how Jim managed his family and the football family. I know that's an area you would love to strive in, is to be a great father and a great coach. And those skill sets are similar, but to be able to balance it, like you mentioned, that is not an easy assignment.
It's not. And, the father part is first and foremost. I'm blessed and fortunate that my wife, Morgan, she's a rock star, superhero, and holds our family down. And those three boys, Jackson, Jameson, and Jensen, they're my blessings, my little blessings. And it's chaos right now. They're 3-2-1, and they're ripping and running, currently as we speak. They probably just finished breakfast and, giving mom all types of grief and just being boys and all over the place. And I love it. But the parallel I tell people all the time is when we go recruit, one day my sons might be in that situation, and whoever I hand them off to, I want to know that they're being taken care of. And anybody who entrusts their son to Campbell University and to myself and to the staff knows that we're going to look after your sons like they're our own. And that's why we have success recruiting. Coach Harris and Coach Miller and Coach Chip, they're bringing in these kids, and everybody's like, well, what's the secret, man? There's no secret. Right. It's hard work by them and the staff as a whole, and it's love from the staff to these players and these families, so that when you entrust your young man, your son, to us, you understand that when you get him back at the end, he's going to be a better human being. We're going to take what you've done, all the hard work, honestly, for those first 17, 18 years, and we're just going to add our bit to it and trust that he has an environment to grow, because that's what's most important at the end of the day. Yes, we're in the business of winning games, but we got to take care of these boys. And so I can go home and take what I do there every day, and the love and the passion and the energy. And, again, like you might see in the special teams period, it's full contact at home as well. And that goes to the guys. My language is better with my boys because they're so young. And that's where you can strike the balance. And then then you integrate it. My sons will be at the scrimmage tonight. They'll be at the games.
And playing with the Harris kids.
With the Harris kids.
And interacting with all different kids.
The Adams
and the
kids and the Anai kids and Coach Brown's grandson. And everybody.
Coach Anai's daughter, by the way, she's the cutest little thing.
All three of them. Little Fia, especially, running around. I mean, they're unbelievable. And that's what makes this place special and the staff special, is everybody understands that balance and that integration. Our family's here all the time, and Coach Maynard makes it a priority that, your family wants to come, they come. You don't ask any questions. They're just there. You can go at any time of the day. If we're in the building, you'll see somebody's kids there. And our players see that. So they see that side of us as well. And they see how we interact with our kids. So they understand that, okay, we're hard on our sons. Of course we're going to be hard on y'all. And it's because we want the best for our sons and daughters. Just like we want the best for you. That it's not personal. Nobody's ever going to be disrespected. We want to disrespect our kids. We're not going to disrespect you. But we're going to rear you up in our own ways. And like I said, the best way to strike the balance is to, honestly, to take pieces from both and integrate it.
I love that part of this conversation, because we all have families. We all have pets and kids and all this stuff. And it's not just our daily job.
Right.
We don't just clock in 8 to 5 or whatever hours, right? It's weaving that all together, and the culture that Coach Minter's built for your staff would seem very inviting and open, and that would seem to be the secret key, if you will, to getting these high school kids to find interest in you because they learn more about who you are.
That's it, man. You get to know us. You get to know us, and us being the coaches, us being the culture, us being the players, that we're all in on this together. So if you come from California or Texas or Maine or Alaska, whatever part of the country you come from, if you come from Australia, if you're international, that you have a home here in Buies Creek. It's our little gym in North Carolina, man. You have a home. And Coach Minter's working towards that actively every day with all that we do. And it shows. And so like you said, if there's a secret, it's that, and it's not really a secret because you can tell anybody that,
sure.
But you can't fake that. It has to be authentic. It's authentic with our staff. And that's what recruits recognize. That's what families recognize. That's what our players recognize. It's authentic. Because if you're fraudulent about it, about our secret, about the work we put in, it'll show. And the one thing, I tell people all the time about teenagers is they see BS.
Yeah, they can sniff it out quick.
They sniff it out quick. And it's instantaneous. Like, nah, that guy's a fraud. Okay, I don't want to deal with him. Versus us, like, okay, coach, fill in the blank. He's a real one. And it doesn't have to be my personality. It could be Coach Miller, who, you may not hear a peep out of, except for your one-on-one conversations, but you understand he's genuine. He's a genuine dude. And people recognize that. And they love that. That's, I guess, the key to our success, if you will, in that arena.
I love, too, your Twitter account because every time I check it, there's a soccer post or a volleyball post or a golf thing retweeted. I get that football coaches have their little tunnel vision, right? But it does not seem with you, it seems very wide perspective, whole campus, and then that's a nice skill to have.
And football is still part of the athletic department, and we are all in this together, and we in the football building couldn't be more proud of all the other coaches and players and staffs and their success. We love it. We love it. Anything that's making Campbell better, we love. We just want to be a part of it as well. And two, I'm on campus. I do the community service with the football team. I'm the faculty advisor to Uplift, the Black student athlete organization. I took a couple of kids down to Houston, the Black Student Athlete Summit this past May. And two of my guys, but then, was already done live, former softball player, and my girl HK, Haley, over there with soccer. Because it's not just football. It's everybody. And so any student, anything I'm involved in, anything I see, those students I know, have gotten to know, on campus, I'm going to support you. And if I can't get out to your game or your match, then the least I can do is promote it, when I see fit. Oh, there's a game coming up. We tell our guys, get out there if you get a chance. Oh, if we got means we can, hey, just show them some love on Twitter afterwards. Because, again, we want to be appreciated. Everybody does. And we understand that even in a small university, football at times will get top billing, even when we haven't been as successful as we wanted to be. Versus, golf,
right?
Who's running off a dynasty right now, just running off a street. They're almost unparalleled. Well, yeah, they deserve love because they're putting that work in. Or volleyball, baseball. Obviously, we're looking at the stadium right now, the success they've had. But softball, the back-to-back championships. Soccer, both sides. There's so much success. Coach Virgil over there with track just takes over and they win the conference.
The indoor, yeah,
absolutely. And everybody, whether you're football, whether you're Olympic sport, should be recognized. Coach Minter also does a great job during camp. We have special speakers, and we've had, Coach Sintes and Coach Fisher and Coach Hare come and speak to us, champion coaches, and about what they've done with their players. And all we want to do is pick the brains of other people, and we want to support them as well because we're all on this journey, slightly different, our different fields, but we're all on this journey together.
I got to see a lot of the football players and some softball players and volleyball athletes at the Uplift group on Street Fair. Yep. And their passion and their enthusiasm working with the BSA, Black Student Association. This is a university that's more diverse than people think.
Much more
being
diverse.
Able to have those conversations and having those forums is important.
Right.
And, I'm a white man speaking to a black man right now. Mm-hmm. I think we need to have these discussions and be able to create that environment where it's open and fostering that diversity.
This place is much more diverse than people think, and it starts with the leadership. When you talk about President Creed, I work on a diversity and equity inclusion committee with the athletic department with Alicia Tucker. Just yesterday, our athletic director, Anna Bazemore, is in my office, and it's like, what does Uplift need? If they need anything, let me know. And that's not a conversation you're going to get from every athletic director. And I think people need to know that we are an inclusive university, we're a diverse university that wants to promote the growth and development of everybody and anybody from any walk of life. And the beautiful thing, like I said, in the street fair, is not just black students coming up to the black student athlete tent. It's all students, and because it's important that the issues of diversity, pick a group.
Sure.
Need allies from everybody. Everybody needs to be involved for the betterment of everyone. And yes, it is a black student athlete organization, but it's not just for black students, if that makes any sense. And we are about everyone because we understand that, in times of need for us, that, we're going to need everyone too. And we're going to be that for others as well. We're a reflection. We uplift a reflection of the university. Yes, this is a PWI, and people just assume that there's nobody's going to look like me or
right.
talk like me or sound like me or feel like I do on this
By
campus.
the way, the term PWI, so Mike Minner, he told me that off the record one time. I was like, Coach, I'll be honest, I don't know what that means.
Right.
And that shows even the blindness to it at times that someone like me may not realize some of the struggles that other people may face.
And, PWI, primary white institution, honestly, well, most colleges are. and it's not a pejorative, it's not a negative. That's just what most colleges are, the opposite being, HBCU, historically black college and university.
Right.
And oftentimes, like I said, I went to Harvard. It from the outside in doesn't get wider than that, right? Which was also a much more diverse place than people think. And that's part of the reason why you really love it. You get there and you immerse yourself like, wow. And Campbell has that same feel. And the more people we can get out of all walks of life to see what this university has, the more it's going to grow and the better it's going to be.
I know faith's a big part of your background as well. And you mentioned a Bible verse here from Luke 1:37, for with God nothing shall be impossible. I think that speaks to many people on this campus, in this world, and about just that faith and that testament to continuing on your path.
And people get caught up in Christianity or religion and assume that you have to be perfect. Listen, I am the biggest sinner in the world, right? I am far from perfect, but I understand that I need a guide, and that's it. If I try my best to stay true, nothing will be impossible. Does that mean everything's going to work out as you think you're seeing fit? No, but they also tell, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And it's something I wear on my sleeve. It's nothing that I hide, but it's also nothing that is pushed on anybody. Same thing with all people. Like, hey, man, we want our players to have something to hold on to. Whether it's God, Jesus, whether you're Catholic, Christian, whether you're Buddhist, Muslim, whatever it is, have something to hold on to, because when times get hard, you got to be like, what can I focus on? What's your North Star, right? What's your guideline? What's your principle? What's your moral compass set? What can you revert back to? Because we know when times get hard, we're all going to go back to our factory settings. And what is that? And so for me, the better I can be with that. Whatever my factory settings, when times get hard, the better I'll be overall. We'll revert back to our training, put in the sports sense. So we practice hard, because when times get hard, you'll revert back to your training and how our practices are. And so then the games will be easy. It all goes together. But yes, man of faith, far from perfect. For anybody who listen to this and be like, man, Steve, what'd you talk about? No, far from perfect. Always working to be better, striving to be better on a daily basis.
Well, I love, too, this is a university rooted in its Baptist culture. It's not necessarily the overarching vision of the campus, but open environment, fostering that faith-based learning, and then just having those pillars that you can lean on. I think that's so important. I mean, I think of a player like Greg Streeter, who wears his faith and his passion on his chest, and that's for underprivileged kids, that's for the community, that's for his faith, that's for his brothers in the classroom, that's for everybody. He just has that passion on him.
He is a intense young man in the best ways possible. Greg Streeter and people like him are the heartbeat of any program, not just ours. He heads up it's a part of an organization on campus called Ransom. So if anybody wants to get out and meet Greg Streeter and Keyshawn Thompson and others on campus, please go check out Ransom. But again, he's an unbelievable human being, and that makes things, again, easy on the field. And you understand that when he leaves Campbell, Greg Streeter's going to be okay. And I think that's the most successful thing you can have as a coach, is that when these boys leave your program, they're going to be okay. No, that's not always the case. I mean, anywhere. There's guys I played with. Like, hey, man, what's he going to be doing when he leaves? I don't know.
Right.
Versus that guy, we know he's going to be just fine.
Well, it's crazy, too, because you're coming up on year 4 at Campbell now, which means you're about to see a full class. I know with COVID, some kids are here a little longer.
Right.
But you're about to see a full class of seniors, the Brevin Allens, the Haj Malik Williams, the Matt Prices who recently graduated, all these kids who were young when you got here, and you mentioned having 3 kids, 3 and under. I do feel like there's some parallels of watching your kids grow up and then watching these football players graduate.
They're different human beings. I remember when Haj walked on campus, as a kid coming from Army, and to where he's 22 years old now, and he's a different human being, which is what you would want and expect that over these years that people are going to mature, and that could be the same. The same can be said for countless others that I was working with the linebackers, and I had Alex Santiago, who's now tight end. I had Jack Wilkes and Ethan Corshi and Ron Olson to see whether they started to now contributing members of the team. Xavier Kane is a safety, who's one of my guys that now is
just got a scholarship.
Yeah.
I love those ceremonies. It doesn't matter for what time of the year. Those are great.
It's great, and you see guys like that, and they grow up from kids, from boys to men. Like I said, it's one of the best parts of the job. Like
Julian Hill,
who
grew up from a high school option quarterback to now a possible NFL prospect.
Listen, man, Julian Hill is tangibles, intangibles, one of the best players I've been around. I don't care where you are, I don't care what level, and he's going to have a great season, and a team needs to draft him, not just sign him, draft him,
right.
and get his rights and hold on, and they're going to know immediately when he walks in that building that we made the right decision. He is unbelievable. I mean, the backbone, the heartbeat, the brain, whatever you want to call it, of our team is 85. He's special. A special human being and a special football player. And there's so many guys you can say that about in our locker room, which is why, we feel like we're going to have much more success, not just this season, but as the program going forward, into our new ventures and whatnot.
When you heard the news of the CAA, you hear the rumors.
Right.
Obviously, as coaches, you were informed there was a bid, but you never know when that all takes place.
Right.
What was your immediate reaction when you heard the news of the conference change?
Excited. Absolutely excited. I'm a competitor by nature in everything I do. I have to turn it off. I'm playing basketball with my son, on his little hoop, me and mom. And
you're winning 27-1, and he gets maybe a bucket.
And I want to see him be successful, but, obviously, but if I miss a shot, I'm a little pissed. If mom beats me shooting basketball, which she has, and she will gladly tell anybody who talks to her, I'm pissed. Now, you can manage it differently than obviously on Saturdays, but you can't turn off being a competitor. And that's what we want in our building is competitors. We want to play the best, and we're excited to finish out in the Big South. And we want to finish out our last season in the Big South with the championship and to move on and continue that championship tradition, to build that and develop that going into the CAA. It's if not one of the best FCS conferences.
No doubt.
And there's no question about that.
And you saw a great taste of that last year with James Madison, who's a now moving FBS, but a national power at its time.
Unbelievable. In the program that, they have in place, you can tell why they're successful. And we're trying to get to that level. We're trying to have that year-to-year unmatched, unparalleled success. And the only way to do that, they say in wrestling, you want to beat a man, you got to beat the man. That's it, and that's what we're trying to do.
Ric Flair, man. I love that quote.
You can't, the nature boy, right? So we want to finish out with a bang here in the Big South and head into the CAA and continue that. But everybody was excited about it.
The other moment on the schedule that people sort of go, oh, my gosh, Jackson State.
Absolutely.
With Deion Sanders, with the HBCU tradition, homecoming weekend. I realize you're focused on Citadel Game 1 right now.
Absolutely.
But that week, to me, will seem to be a life-changing. Obviously, there's a game on it, but
Correct.
There's so many storylines and factors.
So many. You first will say, Coach Sanders and the staff and what they're doing at Jackson State is unbelievable, and not just at Jackson State, what he's doing for all the HBCUs, not just football programs, shining a light that they've deserved to have shine on them for forever. If you ask me, the greatest coach in college football history is A. Robinson, Grambling. It's not close. It's him. It's him and everybody else, if you ask me my, humble opinion. And HBCUs deserve the recognition everybody else does. And I love what Coach Sanders is doing to highlight that. Now, we want to go beat them,
of course,
obviously. But the experience is going to be unmet. Homecoming, Jackson State, 60,000 just in the stadium, and probably double that outside. We can't wait. We cannot wait. We had the number one recruiting class. They had the number one recruit.
With his son, yeah.
And we want to go again. To beat the man, you got to beat the man. They had a great season last year, and I know they're trying to build on that. And Sports Illustrated cover and cameras following around, and they deserve that. But just we want to make sure that people understand that we do too, and that what's happening in Buies Creek is not a fluke. It's not a fluke, and people may not have heard of us yet, but they will for all the right reasons.
Well, Steve, it's because of people like you, and I don't say that just because I'm talking to you right now. I think people like you and Mike Minter and these high-class, high-character people make a difference. You can tell on this campus that coaches and professors and people who have authority and respect around the campus, that carries weight.
Right.
And I think you and Coach Minter are among many in football that do that.
I appreciate it. And one thing I want people to know who are listening to this and who come on visit us is that, again, it's Coach Minter and, myself, and thank you, and everybody else on our staff, but just not football. Like you said, the professors, the administration, all the other sports on campus. Just take time to come and meet these folks. And you'll be like, oh, okay. I get it. I get it. Why this place is special. Why people come here like, man, think about it, man. People come to the Creek and never leave.
No doubt.
Become lifers. It's not because they don't have other opportunities. It's because, wow, man, this place is special. And you're right. It's because of the people. Starting top down all the way from President Creed all the way down. And it's a blessing to be a part of it. And I just want people to really be able to come out and experience it.
Well, this podcast is called Ryhmes with Orange for its unique nature and for the Campbell spin. I think you were a great first guest for the semester.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me, the invite. I was glad to do it. Anytime you want me to come back, I'm more than willing to. And great name. People hopefully will catch it. Nothing rhymes with orange. And I've been, spinning my brain trying to, I'm going to come here and have a word.
Yep.
And no, I got nothing.
Thank you, Coach Williams.
Man, thank you.